day it's been. Just okay. So we've had a little bit of a catastrophe today. Basically, we were I was doing some work on in my world, and we had a power cut, and I was playing Minecraft at the time, and oh, here we are. So I was having trouble finding the flipping live stream. Okay, let's click on that. Live stream. Okay, it's a fussy bookie. Okay, copy link. Alright, here we go. Yeah, so we had a... Hang on. I'm going to start again once I've shared it. Hang on a sec. Alright, let's post that. Come on. Ugh. It's... Come on then. Oh, something's going... Bloody technology, honestly. Yeah, so the power went out at home there, and right in the middle of doing something. I was, in fact, I was working on something that you guys hadn't seen yet, which was Tali's new idea for something for me to build, and yeah, the power went off, and of course, you know, I don't know. You'd get a start the machine back up, and when the power comes back on, and it would say, oh, you know, your PlayStation didn't shut down properly, and you go, yeah, I know, well, you know, and you start it up again, and oh, right, that's posted, right, okay, good. And sorry, it's got a bit stuck there on my phone, weird. Okay, yeah, so you know, I started the Minecraft up again after this brief power cut, and it just comes up with this message saying that Daddy World, which is my world where everything is, the saved data's corrupted, and I said, and it was like a OK kind of thing, and I said clicked OK, and it just disappeared from the sort of list of worlds, you know. just gone. So I had a little look into the situation. It seems it's happened to other people, and there was a sort of solution in terms of using the data storage app to sort of go online and see and download download your world back from online storage. But obviously, well, I did that just about half an hour ago, and and it would seem that the last time that was in the start of July. So so I downloaded that that save data, and this is where we are at the moment. And that point, July, it's before I even started building that pyramid. So this save game doesn't even have it. What we're going to do now is I'm going to show you where we are right now, explain where we are, and then we're going to try and maybe find our way back to where the pyramid complex was, and see what's there right now, which should be rather heartbreaking. But weirdly, in previous live streams, I've mentioned my first attempt at a biggest possible pyramid, which I abandoned, and strangely enough, this is where we are. So if I show you what we're doing here, or what was happening here. So I started building this structure. I think I just chose an arbitrary side length of whatever. I can't remember what it is. 500 blocks maybe. I think it's 500 or 800, or I can't remember. At sea level, as you can see, and I started building up the corners, and I realized at some point that it wasn't going to top out. So this is the highest. As you can see, if I try and lay a block, you're not going to. So we're at 256. So I realized that this structure, I wasn't going to be able to top it out to a proper pyramid, and that was kind of, quite disappointing. But I still planned to carry on with it, which is why I started doing this well here. I thought, well, if I do a sort of inverse, thing, I can kind of maybe make something interesting up to the thing there. So that's the extent of it. All I really did was mark out the. Bearing in mind this was before I knew how to do any of the sort of command stuff with sort of removing vast amounts of blocks in sort of single commands. This is all kind of manually laid, manually done, and so obviously marking out this perimeter. Obviously I was just kind of, oh flipping hell. The internet connection quality is currently not sufficient to broadcast gameplay. Oh, my life. First world problems, I know, but Christ on a bike, it fucks me off. Excuse my language, everyone, but it really does. It really annoys me that my internet is so bad. And on, when we have bad weather, it's even worse. So I don't even know whether this is getting broadcast or not. Let's have a look, see what's going on. Alright. Well, it looks like we're still broadcasting. Alright. Yes, I think we are, although is it actually moving? It looks like we're still broadcasting. Yes, it is, okay. Alright. Oh, well, let's continue. Okay, so the so I obviously marked out this perimeter, and I sort of didn't really go down or anything below sea level. I think it was just an arbitrary, just like 500 blocks, I think, or 200 or what. I can't even remember. And obviously had to sort of carve through all this stuff on 4 sides. So I just wanted to kind of mark out the the basics, the sort of beginnings of it, and obviously, like I said, when I started getting to the top there, I realised it wasn't going to top out, and this is when Joe sort of famously said about, well, you should have started from the top. And I was like, yeah, you're right, I should have done that. So this is an abandoned project. The weird thing about being here again is that I actually lost this area. For some reason, when I abandoned this structure, this build, I moved away, and I can see from the coordinates that I'm at here that I moved. It's actually not that far to where the pyramid that's been lost is, but it's far enough that I've never been able to find my way back here. So I might as well. So while we're here, I'm going to show you what was. This was my little area that I started doing pyramids in. So you can see there's sort of some smaller structures here. These are my sort of first little goes at it all. It's another flipping snow biome, obviously, but so I think this one was the first one. Just a little just a little structure under the sea, and I was just kind of just mucking about really, and not really thinking about it. And then obviously I did that one next. Just getting gradually a little bit bigger. Now this one, oh god, when I look at this, I think of all the flipping work that went into trying to excavate this down. I wanted to bring this down, and I didn't know how to use sort of coordinate fill commands to actually kind of just convert whatever you've got here, which was obviously a water and ice originally, just to convert it into air. So simple, but I didn't know how to do that. And so this is the reason why this is all gravel, is that because gravel, like sand, drops, it drops in water or in air as well. It means you can kind of fill. I mean, this is such terrible. I mean, such a time-consuming donkey work way of doing it. But it means you can fill areas with gravel, and fill them up and get rid of the water. And that's how I did this depression here, this bit here. And I was kind of sort of slowly doing the rest of it, but it just took such a long time. I can't even begin to tell you how long it took, because it is a daft way of doing it. But it's the only way I knew how at the time. And at some point again, I kind of thought, sod this. I'm not gonna do this anymore. I want to do something else. And so we hit the, I guess this one. Yeah. So I started building this one here, which is obviously a good deal bigger. But again, on the inside, there's not really much going on. I did this little overhang and this obelisk thing here, monolith. So I was obviously still doing those, so I was still thinking about that. So coming out of here, we're going to run all the way along this sort of stuff here, and we come to the sort of largest of the pyramids that I did here. So there's another couple of these are just sculptures, really, sculptures. Another monolith and light interlocking shit, whatever. And another little sculpture. I think that's even made of, yeah, that's quartz. Yeah, so we have this pyramid here. I think this is 150 blocks, 150 by 150 at sea level. And what I did with this one was sort of bring it down below sea level in places, but not, you know, obviously I didn't really complete the process of doing that, because again we're doing it all manually and it was very time consuming. But so under here, I think when there's a little bit of stuff going on here, there's really nothing very interesting, but it's just, you know, so the little exit that I made here, and this pathway leads back to the other, the other pyramid, and this was a little sort of moon pool type thing, or don't know. You could get, this is the main, obviously, interior of the pyramid here, and it's all kind of just as I found it, other than the, you know, trying to build the sort of structure of the pyramid downwards into the water, but not actually, because I didn't know how to excavate. The field command stuff wasn't around then. You know, it's really kind of as I found it, and just building around it all. So with a little, that's our center spot. So heading on up to the platform. Yeah, it's just I mean, you can see the sort of same sort of design language that I always seem to be drawn to. Yeah, it's just there's nothing there. I mean, that's all it is. Yes. So that, you know, this is as far as it got, really, and so this sort of complex, I then kind of, you know, thought this one was done, kind of thing. I didn't really want to do any more on this, and that's when I started the big one that we couldn't top out. But there was another little thing here to look at, which is not this. This is just a little tower, but I wanted to do a little. We were at the time, Tali and I were talking about the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and I was getting her to name them all and remember them. And we were talking about the Colossus of Rhodes, and so we sort of built this little chap here, just as a little bit of fun. It's not actually that big, really. In fact, I had a different one that was. The first one that we did was about half his size, and I thought, oh, I think we'll make him a bit bigger, so we destroyed it, and I quite like his face. He reminded me of sort of like Rom or someone like that from Marvel, but I don't know. Anyway, so that was that, and oh, there's a weird. Yes, there's a weird shadow on the floor there. Okay, so up in here, what's that? This is Ben's madness. Okay, so I was kind of, when I built this, I was thinking about those impossible shapes, you know, the kind of like the stuff that, you know, MC Escher would do. And there's the one that I used to draw all the time on a piece of paper, and as a triangle, and and I thought, well, there's a way to, you know, what is the actual the three-dimensional structure that they always make, and then you know, viewed from a certain angle, you can see that it's you know, you can see how it works in terms of its the illusion of impossible. So I built a little one here. In fact, I think I built 3 of them. I think there was a tiny one. This is kind of what happens. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's the tiny one. Now, this is the first one that I built, obviously, because it's the tiny one. And this is sort of X marks the spot. So I think you have to stand pretty much here and look up, and it sort of does the. You can kind of position it so yeah, there you go. So it's kind of more or less working. It might work better in if you changed the sort of wide angle setting on the thing on the game, which you can obviously adjust. But that, you get the idea that you can see that that's how the shape works. And the problem with the other 2 is that I didn't really do the X marks the spot thing with those, but it's essentially the same. It's the same thing, and if you stand in the right place, it'll look like that one does. But so I have marked down. I actually took a picture of the coordinates here because where the pyramid, the big pyramid was, or you know, from here. But I want to be able to get back here. Yeah, I don't want this to be. This has all been lost since this time. Which you know, I mean, I know it's. I mean, Joe said to me earlier when it all happened and I'd lost it, lost the game, lost the save game. And I was, you know, upset about it. Come on. She did, you know, say that classic line, which was, "It's just a game," you know. And yeah, it is just a game, but obviously, oh look, here's a little boat. I'm not sure what that's supposed to look like. Yeah, I did a little bit of stuff in here. It's nothing. It really doesn't go anywhere. It's just kind of a few little viewingy bits. I don't know what I was doing here actually. I just thought, oh, whatever, just do some stuff. I think weirdly, actually, I know what it was. It was because Otto, when Otto was playing, he found himself a space like this, an icy space, and he started building a little home inside one of these ice structures, these natural formations, and I thought it was really good. I really liked what he was doing. I thought, oh, I might build something like that myself. So I did, but I never really got that into it, you know. Kind of, I obviously started doing the pyramids, and that kind of took over. That doesn't even lead anywhere. But it was a thought. So yeah, the whole "it's only a game" thing. I mean, you know, yeah, it is, and of course it's not. You know, in the great scheme of things, whatever. But it has, you know, it's upset me quite a lot because it's a lot of time and effort put into sort of, you know, designing and building and, you know, doing all that work and making something that you're quite, you know, sort of proud of in a sort of creative way, and to lose it all is pretty gutting, really. You know. So I don't actually know at this juncture whether there's any way that that I could get it back. I mean, I haven't contacted Mojang or anything like that. I don't know whether there's any recourse, anything that but I'm assuming that it's just gone, that because that save file was only on my system, and that it got corrupted in that. I've forgotten where any of this leads, by the way. And then it got corrupted with the power cut. That it's gone. That's it. There's no coming back. I'm sort of only 70% accepting that at the moment. Although I think that is probably going to be where we're at. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to follow the dots, follow how I kind of arrived at this biome, or this area, which I came this way. Obviously, this is the the way I came. So all this stuff is this stuff is earlier than the pyramid stuff. So I'm thinking that if we head back this way, we might find ourselves somewhere interesting. I don't know. And not very. It doesn't make me happy, this bloody state at which this, the speed at which this all renders in. It's so fucking slow. But it would be nice to, yeah, see, this is, God, come on, guys, fucking load in, will you? I can see from the coordinates how it's going. It's sort of heading back, and I have a sort of idea of where we're actually going to end up. Yeah, follow this line. Hopefully it doesn't peter out, and we'll see something soon enough. Oh, what's going on here? Come on, render in, for Christ's sake. Okay. So, what the flipping heck this is, I do not know. I can't remember. In fact, I think that might have been one of the kids, possibly, building that. Okay. Come on then. What this is, don't know. Did I do anything here? I think I just had a little fiddle around in here. Yeah. Oh yes, okay. So I was sort of mucking about with the floor. I don't know. God, I don't know. What am I doing? All these little ideas never really going anywhere. I liked the idea of the grass with the sort of blocks and the kind of unfinished idea of that, sort of intentionally done like that. Anyway, let's carry on. Where is this taking us? A little village there, that's nothing to do with me. I really, actually, this is a kind of as much a voyage of discovery for me as anyone else. No, I actually can't remember where we're off to here. So there was just some kind of nexus there. Whatever, I don't know why I decided to just do a right turn here, but I obviously did. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see. So you can see the we're at 414 here on the on that axis. Now, I suspect because the area that I was working in with the pyramid was at -9,000 something. So we're going to be pretty close. I think it should anyway become more apparent to me anyway where we are. It just takes so long to think about. Come on. Right, are we going to see what we're going to see? Okay, so that's, oh hello, right, we're going up. Okay, so this ends here. We have a little tower that's probably full height. Let's go all the way and follow sea lanterns by the looks of it, at the top there. Okay, I will be very interested to see how this connects to where I've been working all this time in the pyramid, because I have no idea, but it's got to be close. Or is it? Oh no, is it going? Oh, actually. Oh, crikey. I'm not sure about this at all. Okay, well, your guess is as good as mine. It really is. I'm not really sure where this is going to lead us. I thought we were going to go, for some reason, my brain not working properly, thought we were going to drop straight into the 9s, but we haven't. We've kind of started at 0, and of course we have. Why wouldn't we? That's so dumb of me to think we'd drop around like that. Okay, so what have we got here? It's a lava thing. Lava pool thing, whatever. Okay, alright, so I kind of know. Alright, okay, I sort of know where we are now, I think. Sort of, maybe. Let's just come down here. Yeah, I think, oh Christ, when I started playing Minecraft, it was an earlier version of the game, and I think the it's another bloody monolithy type thing, and I think the game was not infinite. You know, the world was finite. You know, you could span the length and breadth of it. And I think this was where it ended, and then once it was saved to the new version of the game, and it was expanded, and obviously we could just carry on. That's how that arrived. Now I think so that's going to mean that this will take us. This should take us back to all the monolith stuff that I did, all the 2001 stuff, and the Discovery ship that I built, which none of you guys haven't seen any of that. It's not that impressive, but it's where what I was doing. So let's follow this and see where we go. It's not that far, but it's far enough. Ah dear. What have we got down here? Oh, this is just some stuff. Render in, you bastard. Come on. Oh, that's that's just a Minecraft thing. Nothing to do with me. Okay, so I think these are going to lead back to basically the monoliths and suspended pools, the sort of reflecting pools that I started building earlier in the year. And from there we should be able to get back to where the pyramid was, which is going to be a bit sad to see that area, but I've got to see it. I've got to see it because that's you know, I don't know. Just gotta do it. Can't believe it. I still can't fucking believe it. Just zapped. Oh, all that work. Tali felt so bad about it that she's while I had to go out for a walk. And we have stumbled upon the first monolith because it's dark and we didn't see it. So here we have I don't know. So I guess it's a pool. Perhaps we should change the. Let's change the time to day so that we can see things a bit better. There we are. Okay. Yes, so I kind of know where we are now. So this is one of the monoliths that I built. As you can see, I kind of never really finished this side of it for some reason. I don't left that open. We have a this interior that I kind of started just mucking about with. There's no real order to it. As you can see, it's fairly random. Not random. It's just there's no plan to it. It was just kind of okay. Well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and I think that goes all the way down to nothing. Bit of a pool area that goes all the way down to wherever. Where are we going? Oh, yeah. And yeah, this leads somewhere, but I'm not going to go that way yet. Come on then. Let's get back up out of here a minute. Boof. Now I think they've changed how water, how it looks when you're in the water. It seems a lot more murky these days than it used to be. You can't see as well. I don't know whether that's a thing or whether I'm imagining it, but so this was one of the last of the big monoliths that I've built. I think, because it's unfinished. That's why I'm saying that, because I think it's the only one that is as unfinished as this. Obsidian, obviously. Here, I think this is just a little. Yeah, I quite like the idea of the just. Wah! I'm right at the bottom again. A different place this time, but yeah. Oh yes. Ah yes, I remember this room. Yeah, I sort of found this lava-y place and just kind of thought I'd have a little midway point between the water. It actually does all these tunnels down here. They do lead out to. Now, why is that so misty? You can't see. Why is that? That's so weird. It never used to be like that. Maybe that's something in the settings that's changed or something. Don't know. Anyway, they do lead. Oh, what's that? Just nothing. What was that? Oh, another little nothing. Okay, right, let's head up to the top. Head back out. Yeah. Come on. Oh, it's a long way. As we come out the top. Blush. Okay, where are we? Right. Okay, oh yes, okay. Ooh, okay, so that's over in the distance here. you should be able to see. Oh, okay, so from here, there's a bunch of the swimming pools, reflecting pools that I built. They were sort of, again, the sort of situation was that I built one, and then I built more, and then I built a bigger one, and bigger one, and a bigger one, and then eventually the sort of the biggest one. And the trouble is, of course, I'm in a cold biome, and so you've got snow and things icing over. I think this was the first pool here, this one, and then I started suspending them, and then there was this one which was kind of big, and then I think this was the biggest one that I bothered with. Again, all the snow on it. And the idea here was to keep the water from freezing by putting lava underneath a layer of glass. So you would have, but you have to. It can only be one. You know, it doesn't really work, to be honest. As you can see, once you get 2 blocks away from the lava, the water can freeze. So it didn't really work as a sort of engineering solution. It worked, but it doesn't work, if you see what I mean. You can't have a deep pool that works like that. And yeah, I kind of had a little bit of a sort of weird idea to do a supply, have the water and the lava flowing from up here into the main pool. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so from here, okay. So over yonder is the probably the biggest of these monolith things. It's bearing in mind that I could build this really quickly now with fill commands. You know, this is all manual. This was all block by block by block, and I was trying to do in 2010. You know, you've got that huge monolith that appears and it's all made of tiny little monoliths, and it's sort of horizontal rather than vertical. This was the idea was to sort of do something like that. So there's a little entrance in or exit. I suppose the arrow is pointing exit, and it's not very well lit in here, but I think there's oh yeah. Yeah, I wrote a little thing on the wall there. Oh God, I'm almost embarrassed, but I'm not embarrassed. Ben, your letter spacing's terrible, and you were a trained fucking. Oh, I've got llamas in here as well. They get everywhere, don't they? These wandering traders. Hello. How are you? Yeah. Well, I don't. Well, what have you got then? Nothing I want. Yeah. Dudes, you really shouldn't be in here. Okay, let's head back. Now, in fact, I don't know why I didn't do a. Why didn't I do a nice something sort of, you know, I don't know why I didn't just do something on this. Just light the bloody thing up inside a little bit more. I actually don't know how long this monolith is. Oh my God, come on. Seriously. In comparison to the pyramid being, I think, 509 blocks or 508 blocks on the side, I don't know how long this monolith actually is. I struggled with the scale of it, to be honest, because I couldn't get. It was so big at the time that I could never get a good view of it in terms of proportions, whether I was kind of making it fat, you know, sort of wide enough and deep enough to kind of be. Oh, hello. There's my little. Yes. to be sort of proportionally, I didn't not correct, but just kind of close to the monoliths of the movies. I know the monoliths in the book are actually of a different proportion. The ratios are different. Kubrick made his monoliths taller and slimmer than Arthur C. Clarke ones described in the book. But anywho, yeah, this is all just, this is just stuff. Weirdly, this structure here, right here, is the very first stuff that I built in Minecraft. This is my first little housey thing with and I kind of built this. We have we've got a portal there that I think Hector built that. Monolith. That's probably the first one that I ever did. We have our little place in here. What's going on there? That's water. Oh, I can't be bothered to go up there. Go in there. Yeah. And this is when I first got this idea to sort of build this bridge spanning, kind of what seemed at the time to be a very long way. It's funny how the sort of your sense of scale and distance changes as you bend. Why did I do that? I don't know. Whatever. Oh, hello. Hello. I can remember working on all this stuff and being really sort of, I don't know, being really into it. I mean, I've even got a lectern there that for some reason. And lots of beacons. I used a load of beacons back then. I don't think there's anything very interesting at the top here. Now the thing over here, yeah, so I've obviously built up and had a little bed and stuff here. Another lectern. I was obviously decided that my character here was going to be, holding court over sort of huge, vistas. And so where do we go from here? Well, actually, there's a couple of things to show you. I did a little hand. I don't know why I did that. Let's build this little golden hand with a bed in it. Obviously, I don't know why it's got a bed in it, but there you go. I just like the idea. I think I planned at some point to build a really huge one of those, but I've never got around to it. There's a few things that the kids have done. Some of these little structures are stuff that the kids did. I think this is... yeah, I think that's one. That's definitely one. Okay, so where are we going? Alright, we're going to get back up. Actually, there is, I think... oh yes, I tell you what I forgot to show you. Look, there's Discovery. Looks pretty good with the sort of stars behind it. It doesn't sort of hold up the closer you get to it, obviously, because it's pretty basic, very brutal, because obviously the blocks are blocks, aren't they? So I kind of did a little. I mean, I just did it from memory, really. I just kind of, I didn't really want to sort of spend too much time buggering about with it, but he says, but I wasn't really happy with the fact that, obviously in Minecraft, unless you're building on a very large scale, you can't really get curves very well. So I sort of thought, okay, well that's all right, I probably didn't get the right amount of modules here, but it kind of looks okay. Anyway, and this was okay. So where are we? Oh, okay. We have another monolith. This is the last really big one, I think. This is let's turn it to day so that we can see a bit better. Oh, right. So yeah, so there's Discovery. There's the monolith, the big one. We have a little complex down there. This was a sort of dynamite thing. I think if I'd known about fill commands when I was mucking about with this, it would have been a much different looking structure. But this was all kind of I don't know, I was just into the idea of kind of digging down in a big way, and so I kind of, most of this was all blown up with dynamite, as you can see from the sort of chaos of it all. And then I kind of tried to make some sense out of the chaos, so to speak, and build a few things, a few pools, and you know, just I quite enjoyed the process of kind of just using the forms that were left from the dynamite to kind of try and dictate a few of the shapes, and you know, but it's just but these things just get so mentally kind of complicated and out of hand. You know, it's too much to do. So I kind of left it after a while, and just so obviously this is a natural ravine, or whatever you want to call it, a natural fissure that I've just sort of mucked about with, and you see some of it's kind of unfinished. Anyway, but that was all dynamite-y. That's Otto's little place that he built up there. That was the first thing that Otto did. So we got this little complex here. Hang on, let's go up to the top of this. Now you can see that the proportions of this monolith are totally wrong, and it's far too tall for its width. But you know, hey. Again, these are all manually built. You know, there's no fill commands going on here. This is all just, you know. And this one is full of water. As you can see, we have a little. That's the bottom. All right. So I guess we can just go in, and it's so murky. What is going on? Come on. Really? Yeah. Wow. I have no idea where we are. Okay. Now that is very odd. I really don't remember it being murky like that when I built it. It's I'm getting very disorientated now. I'm going back up because I can't even begin to think about trying to get through that to the bottom. But the bottom is there somewhere. In fact, let's try it again. Let's just go straight down and not muck about. I'm not going to hit any other directional control except just keep going down. God, we should be able to see something. Oh, there we are. Now I can't believe how murky that is. What the hell? That's got to be something in the settings, right? Surely. How has that got like that? I would never have been able to build it like that if it was, you know. Although I think I'd obviously probably built this stuff when it was dry, and then filled it with water. But I don't know. I can't get my head around it. So let's work our way over here. Oh, here we are. That's okay. Exit. All right, let's get the fuck out of here and go and find what we're looking for. So let's go back up over here and find our pathway. Now, I'm kind of thinking that I sort of will know how this goes when we get going here, in terms of where it's going to lead us. So we're going to go this way. I do wonder if that misty, murky water thing is something to do with the settings. Maybe that's something that's adjustable. But I've never seen it like that before, I have to say. So again, this was leading off originally in my original world before it sort of got migrated over to the new version of the game, which was Infinite. This, I think, led to another sort of probably a monolith which was a marker of the extent of the old world. You know, it was where it ended. And it was weird. I don't know whether you guys remember the way it was when you had this limit, you know, this kind of extent to your world, in that you could see past it. It was just sea, I think, but you couldn't go any further, and you couldn't lay any blocks after a certain point, you know. Come on, land. Render in, will ya? Alright. So obviously we're heading away from the monolith and pools. There is another really big pool, but I have absolutely no idea where it is in relation to anything else. I have never stumbled upon it again, and it's just stupid. You know, I'm so idiotic, really, in that I've managed to kind of get lost so many times and then just kind of start building stuff somewhere else. And this was what these are all about. These linkages is to try and kind of make sure that there's at least some sort of web, you know, some kind of framework where I can find my way to different places that I've worked on stuff. But it's definitely not perfect. And this particular pool that I built, what it was because of the pools that I'd built here back there where we just were, they were all in a cold environment, so you had this problem with water freezing and all that, and I wanted to build one that didn't have that problem. So I went and found myself a nice sort of, you know, sandy beach looking area, and started building a very large swimming pool. And sort of, you know, it was kind of almost like this. In fact, it reminded me, when I was building it, it sort of reminded me of playing Final Fantasy X on the PlayStation 2 or whatever it was, years and years ago. And that kind of, there was something about it that reminded me of some of the visuals in that. This idea of a sort of floating resort almost, yeah, because I built sort of sun lounges and things on the side of this pool, and it was because it was where it was sandy and warm. So sorry about the loading in times, it's really crap, I know. I don't know whether I'm sure other people don't have this problem if they've got faster internets. So let's see where this is going. Oh, hello, we've got something there. What have we got? Another bloody monolith. Yeah, I built a few of these, didn't I? I don't think this is one that's ever... No, it's just a blade. Now, is this where I've built a bunch of... Yes, it is, I think. I built a bunch of... sort of... oh, God. Yes. Okay, here we are. For some reason, I started building a few lightsabers. Ah, Ben, why did you do it? So this is obviously a sort of a little bit like Luke's Return of the Jedi hero saber is kind of the inspiration for that one. I was never really very pleased with how they turn out because obviously you got no curves. Everything's, you know, squares, and you know it doesn't really work. But that's one of them. I think Otto or Hector built this one, and there was we got another flipping. Now what's going on here? I have a monolith with fire on top of it. Some kind of animal. I don't know where that was going to lead. It doesn't lead anywhere. But this area here was again one of those areas that I found myself staying in for a while and building a few things. So there's some stuff on the water. There's I'm going to turn it to day again so we can see a bit better. Right. Okay, so we have a monolith there. Stuff. This one here. I think Hector. Ah, yeah, this is where. So we have the little under the water here. We've got another little lightsaber thingy there. I don't know what this stuff is. I can't think. I know Hector built this over here. This little loot. Yeah, look, he put little, and bless him, look, loot, and he's got these. Ender chests or whatever they are, and the stuff that he loaded them with, yeah, it's still the same. So he loaded it all with all this good stuff, and those ender chests that I had in my complex, my pyramid complex, but are full of the same stuff because obviously it sort of teleports itself. You know, all ender chests sort of have the same stuff in them. You know, so this obviously leads somewhere. Now there was another. Okay. This, I don't think this does anything in particular. Now there we have a marker. Now that is kind of interesting. It's not interesting. It's interesting / boring, as my friend Jules would say. From this marker. Oh yes, there's that huge sort of another huge building. I wanted to do something slightly different from the monolith idea and just did a just another large structure, but with probably lapis lazuli or something like that. Okay, so this marker is currently not showing me any other markers, but then again it's so crap to load in that you wouldn't know at the moment. Normally once everything's sort of rendered in as far as it's going to render, you would be able to see another marker. That's the whole point of these things, is that they one leads to another, and it helps you kind of navigate. Helps me navigate. This thing never really got too far. It kind of reminds me of a sort of like something you'd see in Vegas or something, or Miami. I just had it was just an experiment of building something on the diagonal, which I'd never done up to that point. But it's deathly boring. Okay, so I don't know. This marker's not doing much. So we're gonna go head back over this way. I'm hoping that we can get sort of back on track. Back on track. That was a song in the old Tut Tut days. It's one of the first songs that we wrote when I joined the band, when me and Adam Houghton joined the band. And one of the first kind of songs that we worked on was a thing called Back on Track. I've probably got a rehearsal recording of it somewhere. Portal. Not much going on here. No, this bloody... Yeah, look at that. It's crazy, isn't it? I suppose this is going to lead somewhere, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, no, it doesn't lead anywhere. Just a beacon. Oh, no. Yep, we have a tunnel. And a room. A chamber. Okay, I'm sort of struggling to remember building this stuff, but whatever. Okay, let's head out. Alright. Okay, that's heading off that way. That's heading off that way. There's our lightsaber. There's our track. Okay, let's keep going this way. Now don't tell me this is the end. That can't possibly be the end. Or is it just having trouble? Oh. Okay, yeah, so this was the other extreme end of my original world. So this was where it ended. And I built this thing here. Another portal there. And I spent a little bit of time here, but not too much. Never really got well into it. But this was the... can you not get out, son? This was the... Ooh. Go on in. No, what are you doing? Right, well, I tried to help you. Yeah, this was the extent of the world at the time. So all this land here, none of that was there. This was the very last place that you could place a block here, and then and the rest was just like a plain seabed as far as the eye could see, and that was that. So let's now, does it end here still? Yeah, it fucking does as well, doesn't it? Now, I am now a bit stumped in terms of where to go. Shit. What does it say? The end. It's not the end. It's not the end, I promise. See how it's all a bit smashed up? That's because that's the migration from old Minecraft to new Minecraft. But I tell you what, I don't know where to go now. I'm kind of a bit... I'm slightly... We followed this thing all this way, and I'm wondering the if the marker point there, oh, that was over here, wherever it was, is actually the way to go. But this is why you're not supposed to do this sort of thing, really, isn't it? And you're supposed to keep a track of where you are. It's especially unhelpful when you can't render in where you are. Sorry, what am I talking about? You can't. The world is not rendering very fast. So here we have a marker. Now, why did I place this freaking marker here if it wasn't to mark a point where another marker would be visible from this point? That's the whole freaking point of them. Ben, what the hell are you doing? Where are we going from here? Okay. We are a long way from the pyramid, where the pyramid was. I don't really understand how to get there now. Now that that trail's sort of run cold and there's seemingly this marker is not really providing a lot of information for me. Now we could sort of have a little nose around away from the marker and see what happens, but I suspect possibly nothing will. I don't know. If we can't get a handle on it, then I might have to just wrap this up and then figure it out. Because this live stream has been stultifyingly boring enough without me making it worse. So we're getting to that point where that marker's going to disappear, and there's no sign of another one. Which is a shame. But we're sort of 8,000, this way, away from where we were in the pyramid. So I don't know how we got that far away. That's very odd. So there seems to be a disconnect between everything that we've been looking at today, which is all my old stuff, right up to and including the pyramid that was the massive build, the gigantic build that was abandoned. Right up to and including that, and then we seem to have hit a kind of dead end. So Now the funny thing is that from that abandoned build, the huge pyramid that I stopped, partway through with the depression in the middle, kind of with the sort of inverted thing. From that point, I started building the new pyramid, the one that I've lost now. So I don't really know how we got from that place to the next. So I don't know. So what I might do is end this broadcast and then do a little bit of searching on my own, and perhaps I'll do another one when I find the area where the pyramid was, because I'm going to do that. I need to do that. I don't know quite why I need to do that, but I do. Yeah. So guys, I am so gutted about losing my lovely pyramid. It was really starting to look really nice, and everything that I'd wanted it to be in terms of its size and how it looked and everything was really starting to come together. Watch the last video for the kind of latest, that's the most recent version, with all the stuff that I'd done on it and all the doors and all the it was all the block work was finished, all the snow was cleared off it with that water technique. And what I was actually doing when this happened today, Tali had this idea. She said, "What are you going to do next?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I have no idea what I'm going to do next. What do you think I should build next?" And she came up with this idea of building a giant Rubik's cube, which I thought was a really good idea. I thought, I like that idea. So I found a spot sort of at the end of basically these marker points that I worked my way away from the pyramid complex and found a spot that was sort of along the way, and created a space and started work, and so I built a little. It's the usual thing, you build a little one just as a sort of proof of concept, sort of think, okay, well, this is how it's going to work, So I built a little cube. Maybe it was perhaps I don't know. Maybe each color square on the cube was perhaps a 4x4 block square or something like that. So it was, it was cool, and I have sorted out my primary colored building materials. The concrete was the best, so I had the sort of the white, yellow, blue, green, orange, red concrete, and built the cube, and it looked really good. I put some lights inside and had the black it was like a traditional Rubik's cube, the traditional type of cube, so with the black around the colors, and so then I said about building the big one, and I had built the frame, which was actually a bit of a nightmare, because I was using the blackest black thing is black concrete, and it's incredibly hard to work with because you can't see it very well. It is so ridiculously unreflective and you know, even in brightest daylight, and even with sea lanterns right next to it, you can't see the bloody stuff, or at least in terms of you can't see where you're putting blocks and where you're not putting blocks. You know, it's very, very difficult to work with. And when you're trying to build something sort of specific, as in a framework for a giant, you know, Rubik's cube. And it wasn't going to be super big, but I wanted it to be. It was about. I can't remember how high it was going to go. I needed to be careful because I didn't want to sort of build it so big that I'd run out of room or whatever. And I did toy with the idea of excavating down to bedrock like I did with the pyramid eventually, you know. Although I know I did that sort of after the fact. I'd already built the pyramid from ground level, but I did toy with the idea of perhaps making this cube absolutely vast in terms of, you know, excavating a huge area first and then kind of building it all the way up to 256, you know, and kind of building the biggest possible cube shape. I didn't do that. I kind of built it was maybe 150 or 200 high, I can't remember now, and ground level, so yeah, it wasn't going to go down into the ground, but it was certainly going to be big enough. It was certainly big enough to be a pain in the ass. And I was in the middle of doing it. I'd literally done the frame, the black frame, and I was working on the upper face. So I was going to have the white face facing up, and I was working on that when it all went kablooey and gone. So that's where I went. Oh, this one's got no power either. Honestly, yes, I know. Yes, okay, well, we've got no power in this controller and bloody blah, but whatever. What I might do is go and plug one of these bad boys in. We've got 3 controllers, and the trouble is, because the kids play Minecraft sometimes together, not always that successfully, I must say, but they can play together, and so they use all the controllers, and they don't charge them because they're children. That's what children do. You gotta love them, but they are annoying. So I'm gonna head back. We're heading back here, as you might have noticed, and I need to regroup in terms of. So while I was out on my walk, which was an awful walk because it's the bloody weather is bloody terrible. It was absolutely blowing a hoolie. But while I was out, she, bless her heart, she felt so bad about me losing my pyramid that she created a new world called Daddy New World and started building a new one, a new pyramid. And I wasn't supposed to know about it, but of course she created the world and then saved it, and it's right there. You know, when I started the game up, it's right there, and I haven't actually looked at what she's built, to be honest. I started the game up and then thought, oh, actually, okay, and Joe sort of filled me in on the plan when what she wanted to do was for everyone to help and everyone to sort of pitch in and do a bit of pyramid building for me and on this build that she'd started. Now I have no idea how far she got with it. Not very, probably, and it's such a gargantuan undertaking that she's taking on there, that she couldn't possibly do it, really. It's taken me months to do the bloody, the one that I've lost. It's such a huge amount of work that's gone, and but bless her heart, I love her. She's so she has such a good heart, and she doesn't, it really makes her feel bad that I am upset about about this. I mean, I get over it. It is gutting. It's utterly gutting. But it's not like, I haven't lost an arm. You know what I mean? I'll get over it. I'll regroup. In fact, what I'm thinking, this abandoned flat top pyramid, or the one with the inverted top. I'm kind of I'm thinking about the possibility of maybe completing that, maybe working on that, because that would be a spectacular build. If I were to finish it, I'm just gonna have a little X marks the spot. Bonk. Hello. I wish I hadn't built the big one over there now. I should have thought about that and built it somewhere else. But anyway, there we are. Yeah, this. I wonder what